Well, good morning, YouTubes. We are out here in the shop again, working on the V85tt. Now, as you can see, I've kind of started without you. We're doing a valve adjustment today. I've gone ahead and I've adjusted the valves on this side. I figured, you know what? They're both the same. You don't need to see both sides. So, we're going to go ahead, do the other side for you. Show you just how we go ahead and get these things adjusted. Alright, as you can see, I went ahead and I removed the seat. Alright, I picked the seat out, and the bolt right here holds fuel tank on. It's got an 8mm head on it. I go ahead and I take that out, and then I just use, I don't know, it's a little dead blow hammer. You can use about anything. All I'm going to do is stick it in there, and that gives me a little bit more room. Okay, as we go along through here, I'm going to go ahead and I'll try and bring you in for some close-ups when you need to. Right now it's pretty easy stuff. You've got four little Allen head bolts here to pull out. Take off this cover for the spark plug wire. It's essentially just a beauty cover. Now I've gone ahead and left this cover off on the other side, and I've already removed the spark plug and I've left it removed on that side. Reason being, when you need to rotate the engine over, pushing against the other side, the compression of that other cylinder makes it pretty difficult to get it to turn over. So by leaving that spark plug out and taking out this spark plug, it allows the engine to turn over a little bit more freely, so that it's easier for you to get it rotated to top dead center. Alright, so I've got that cover off. Here's your spark plug wire, and it's in a little plastic harness, which is kind of a, you know, set it off to the side for now. We're going to go ahead and use this. It's a 5/8 spark plug socket. It's got the little rubber piece on the inside of it here. That's just so that, because these are down deep inside of there, makes them easier to pull out once you've got them loose. And I've already put all this back together just so you could see what it's looked like when you start with it. I had this side apart, had it out, had the spark plug out to do the other side, but wow. So I don't know if you can see how dirty these are. This bike's got hell, I don't know. I've got about 11,000 miles on it now. So it's coming due for its next service, but I figured this side especially is making a little bit of a ticking noise, letting me know that the valves probably need to be adjusted. It's not a big deal. I could have waited another, you know, whatever it is, 12,600 miles for the service. But I figured, you know what, it'd be a good opportunity to go ahead and get in the shop and do it now. In the service manual, it also states to do the left-hand side over there first, and then do the right-hand side. So that's why we're doing this side second. I don't know if it really makes a difference, but you know, we're just going to go ahead and do it in that order anyway. So to hold the valve cover on, you've got these three Allens, and I've just got these I don't know, they're kind of a shouldered bolt. Goes in there, squeezes up against a rubber seal here, and a rubber seal all the way around so that it doesn't leak. We'll just go ahead and get this loosened up. And a lot of times these don't just fall off. Oh, yeah, they're kind of stuck on there. And this one here, I'm going to see if I can't zoom you in on this. Okay, so what we're looking at here, this is your spark plug wire. It's in these little plastic harnesses. It goes all the way back up into here. And all it is it's a plastic keeper just to keep your spark plug wire, your ignition wire, up out of the way. Keep it off the engine from getting too hot. You know, it pops out. Alright, so it's kind of a pain in the butt, but you can just sit there and just kind of work it, and it'll pop itself out. Once you start pulling up on it, you'll see that it'll come out. It's kind of a pain sometimes, but you'll get it. You'll work it out, and the whole valve cover itself will pop off. All right, and here we are. This is the piece that holds that ignition wire in there, that spark plug cable, and it's just laying in there now. So as you can see, we've got it off. Our 3 bolts are in there. We're just going to go ahead, set that off to the side. You got to be real careful not to break that plastic piece off. But, and here we are. And these are our valves. So you've got your intake valve here and your exhaust valve here. And you shouldn't be able to get those confused. You got a great big exhaust pipe coming in right there at your exhaust valve. So if you've never done this before, you know, don't be too worried about it. It's pretty easy to figure out. You got your exhaust here. This is your fuel injection system here where your intake comes in. So next to your intake is your intake valve. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and get this engine at top dead center. And what that means is the piston that moves up and down in here is going to be at its uppermost limit. So it's going to be up as high as it'll go, and that'll have both of your valves in the closed position, which means that the large springs that are on these valves right here, let's see if I can get it, these big springs right here will be in their full up position. The spring itself will be holding the valve, and oh, actually that one's got a little bit of movement to it right now. I don't know, I don't think you can see that, but anyway, it takes the pressure off of these rocker arms right here, and once the pressure is off on these, that's when you go and you use your feeler gauge to set your spacing in there. So now we need to get it at top dead center and ensure that it's up as high as it'll go. Now you can see that I'm working on from a center stand here, which I know a lot of people, you may not have a center stand. That's okay. It does make it a lot easier, but it's not completely necessary. So with my back tire up off the ground, I'm going to put the bike in probably second gear. That's what I did earlier, so that I can spin the tire, and that in turn turns the transmission, which in turn turns the engine over. If you do not have an engine stand like I do, it's not that big of a deal. You can always you can still do this just as easy with it being on the side stand, and when it's time to roll this thing over, simply just move the bike forward and back, whatever it takes. You don't have to you don't have to have the center stand. Now me, I'm using a T-handled Allen wrench, you know, to take those bolts out. And for me, it's just easy, just go on in here, and I can feel this is not at top dead center. It goes in too far. So we're going to have to move it. Going to have to turn the engine over. Alright, we're in gear now. So I can move this, and you can see how the valves start to move as I rotate this around. That's got... And that's about what we're looking for, is just be able to do that. And I clicked it up twice. I think I'm actually in third gear. But the higher the gear, the easier it's going to be to get the engine to move. If you put it in first gear, yeah, it'll move it pretty quick, but it's going to be pretty tough to get it to move. So this thing is just barely going in. So I can tell we're real close to top dead center. I've got a little bit of movement here, quite a bit of movement actually on my intake. A little on the exhaust. Alright, you can see my little handle here wants to move. Oh, now we just slip back in. So we'll go back out. And that feels about right at top dead center. I've got some movement here, and I've got movement here on both of them. So that tells me right now that both of these valves are being closed just by spring pressure, because we've got movement here. They wiggle just a little bit. You're not going to get a whole lot of movement, but that's all you need. So let's go ahead and get our feeler gauges. Alright, so on adjusting our valves, like I said, we have our intake here and our exhaust here. Our intake clearance is going to be 0.1 millimeters, and you're probably not going to be able to read any of that. Hell, I don't think I could. My eyes aren't good enough. You got 0.1 on the intake and 0.15 on the exhaust. You know, I've looked this up. There's an actual, you know, Moto Guzzi V85tt manual, and I've actually taken a screenshot on my phone of that the valve adjustment, just so that, you know, I don't screw it up, because I'd hate to sit here and show y'all how to do this and then be like, yeah, so I totally screwed that up and did the wrong thing. So right now, let me get you in here. This is a good part. So you've got your the top of your spring here, all right, and then you've got the top of the rocker arm, and that's where you're going to want to stick your feeler gauge. It's right up inside of there. I can't do it one-handed, obviously, holding this camera, but I'm going to set you back down and see if we can get that in there. Alright, so we got our 0.1 millimeter. And I can't get it in there. So it might be good already. Let's check this other side, or I just might not have it. Oh yeah, that's really loose. That's really loose right now. Let me make sure I've got this right at top dead center again, just in case. Alright, you can see how fussy this is. It's a pain in the butt. But important note here. Alright, you see me sticking this in here. When the piston is down, you can stick this in, you know, 3-4 inches, whatever the stroke may be on this. And it'll be at an angle, okay? You can try and follow the, you know, the slope of this, but you're not going to be able to. It's always going to be at an angle. If you have this in here, and then you try to, say you don't have a center stand and you're rolling it, and you roll this bike forward, you've got a lot of pressure, a lot of momentum going on there. You're going to get this pinched in there, and you're going to hurt something. You're going to damage something inside the engine. So never leave whatever it may be. If you're using an Allen wrench, you're using a coat hanger, I wouldn't suggest using anything like a pencil, something like that. If you have something in there that can break, and you go and you get it just a little bit too far, a pencil will snap real easy, and you don't want to snap a pencil or like a dowel rod or something like that. You don't want to snap that off inside your engine. Oh, I can't imagine that would suck pretty bad. So use something that don't break, but be smart about it, and don't leave this in here. Alright, so when you're close and you can feel it at the top, then you can support it while moving it. And it might be better to have two people to help you. Either way, don't leave it in there. You'll end up breaking something. Alright, so anyway, back to where we were. The way they've got these set up is you've got get back in here. So here we've got a retaining nut, and I'm going to go ahead and loosen that up. And with that retaining nut, you've got It's easier to probably see on this side for you guys, but it's just a weird flat. It doesn't make any sense at all. Normally you'd have, say, an Allen head here, or you know, even a Torx or something. This is, it's pretty awful. Anyway, we're going to loosen this up. Let's see, now we've got our movement here, and that's what we're looking for. So we're going to grab our 0.1 millimeter and go ahead and stick it inside of there. So now what we can do is we can turn this screw to tighten it up, all right, and finger tight, all right. We're not trying to tighten it down tight. You just want to get it tight, get it snug down. And what you're going to do here is move this thing back and forth. Now you should have some drag on it, all right. Now it shouldn't be to the point where you can't pull it back out, and it shouldn't be to the point where, you know, it just falls out. All right, right now the whole set is supported just by the tension that this has on it right now, and that's just finger tight. There's no need to go any tighter than that. So if this is your first time adjusting valves and you've never done it before, if you loosen this up a little bit, I mean just a hair, you can tell it just wants to fall out. So you tighten that up, just finger tight again, and that will hold it. But yet you can still sit here and see that might even be a little tight. You want it to where you can move it, but it will also support that. So when you think you've got it to the right spot, go ahead and get your wrench on there. And because of the way these things are, that they've made these, you don't have a whole lot of options on holding them. Moto Guzzi might make a special tool for it, but I'm just using a pair of curved jaw pliers, needle nose style. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this on here, take my pliers, and hold on to this because I don't want it to move. And then snug that up. Alright, so all I'm doing is I'm trying to hold the adjustment screw while tightening it down, and that locks everything in place. Now you can come back over here. Now, see, it moved. That will not hold it, so now I'm going to have to go back in here and redo it. And you'll find this, you know, a couple times that, especially with this, I can't explain how bad of a decision that was to do that, but anyway, we're moving again. It's supporting it, so we're going to try it again. Let's see if I can, see if maybe I can get in here a little bit better this time. Alright, I think that might have gotten it. Oh yeah, we can still move, still supports it, so intake side is done. Now we're going to do pretty much the exact same routine on the exhaust side. We'll start by going ahead, we'll loosen this up. Back that off. And again, this time we won't be using the 0.1, we'll be using the 0.15 feeler gauge. And sticking it in there. Okay, that is really loose. Okay, that gets a bite on it. Yeah, now here we can still move, and it's supporting that. We can go ahead and tighten that down. So get my wrench on there. Try and hold that still. Down. Now let's see what we got. It's not bad. It's not bad. I prefer it just a smidge tighter, so we're going to go ahead and loosen it back up. Loosen it back up, stick that back in there. Let's see if we can't get that a little bit tighter. Just because I know it was this side that was making a little bit of racket the other day. Let's see. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's nice right there. Got good tension. And again, if you're worried about what kind of tension you got on there, it's not bad to err on the side of caution and make it a little bit too tight than too loose. A little bit too loose and you're going to have a little bit of like kind of a slapping, knocking, tapping kind of noise to let you know that they're a little bit loose, and that'll cause a little bit more excessive wear, because essentially if your gap is, if your gap is real close, you've got very little movement there, so very little slap. The more you open that up, the more slap you're going to have every time that goes to open that valve. So I would err a little bit on the side of tightness than looseness, and that, that's got a really nice feel to it there. It holds the tool, but yet it still allows it to move. So let's try this again, see if we can't get this to hold tight here. All right, let's try that. Oh yeah, yep, that's beautiful. Still holds the tool, but it allows it to slide in and out. It's got a nice feel to it right there. So folks, that's it on adjusting valves. It's not hard to do. I know it can be a little intimidating, realizing that the whole top head of, top end of your engine is kind of sticking out here. But it's really that simple. And if you follow along with what I've done here, you should be able to do this on your own bike. So we're going to go ahead and get this button back up. I'll show you a couple little, this here is, like I said, right here, that this little track is where your spark plug wire will sit. And there again, that's why I've got this jacked up a little bit. Okay, helps you get your hands up in there. So let's get this back in, get it back together. Okay, so that just kind of slides on in there. And I'm going to use this to just push it back down into the slot where it goes into. Just like that. And it's back together. There we go. Now, if you don't have a set of these T-handles, hell, they sell them everywhere. I think you probably pick up a set at Harbor Freight. They're fantastic for jobs like this when you need just a little extra reach. Keeps me out here from digging up my side of my stickers. I don't know if you can see it up here. It already from the factory came with crate damage. So these are nice to help get it out of your way just a little bit. These here, I'm using a T-handle, all right? So it doesn't have to be that tight. It's got a nice rubber seal all the way around. Okay, so I've got that. Let's see if we can push that back up in there a little bit. There we go. All right. Get our spark plug back in. Spark plugs in. Get our cable back on. Install our 4 little screws here. I can't read. I think that's a 3mm Allen. These things are they're pretty small. All right, we're all put back together on this side. Now remember, I have the other side apart so that it's easier to turn the engine over with both plugs out. So I'm going to go ahead and reinstall those, and we'll fire it up and see what she sounds like. All right, let's not forget to put the bolt back into the fuel tank here. All right, bolt is in. Seat is on. Keys on. Alright, YouTubes, got done with another easy project. Didn't take long. A few basic tools in the shop here. Set of feeler gauges. I mean, other than that, it's really just a couple of hand tools and that's it. So I hope you got something out of this video. Shout out to all you that have been watching the videos. It's kind of, I just did this just to help people out, and y'all seem to like it. So got any other ideas, something else you want to see, holler at me in the comments, let me know, and appreciate you watching. Thank you.